Welcome to Locky Creations, where I feature my fabulous crafty life. Hello, crafty friends. Welcome to Locky Creations. I am going to do something very fun and creative and something new that I've never done before. I am going to make a traveler's notebook, but make it to put inside my Happy Planner traveler's notebook. So I think I want to have it to be a little bit, maybe a little bit over half the size of the traditional Happy Planner page, which is about the width of it is about 7 inches, I believe. And so my traveler's notebook, I've got this beautiful paper and vellum from Hobby Lobby with the Easter theme. Love this. And I love this page. I actually wasn't sure if I want to use that one for a scrapbook or for this traveler's notebook, but I'm going to end up using the page with a cross, of course, because it is Easter and it is all about He is risen and Jesus lives. So I want to use that. I kind of considered using that page for my cover, but yeah, I'm going to make a traveler's notebook to fit inside my Happy Planner. So I'm just measuring out the size to make sure I got the dimensions correctly. The Happy Planner size is around 9 1/4 and 7 1/2 inches or something like that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just take out one of the pages and I'm going to just write down those dimensions here so I won't forget as I'm working through this project. Okay, so I'm measuring just the Happy Planner page, and I know I want my pocket, so I'm going to create a pocket to go inside of the planner that will hold my traveler's notebook. So I'm measuring the size that I want my insert to be, as well as the size that I think my pocket should be. I know the height of the planner is about 9 1/4, so I know that is the height that I want to use, and about 4 1/4, 4 inches, I think 4 1/4 maybe for the pocket or the outside of the book, and then about 4 inches for the inserts. Okay, so I'm going through to decide what paper that I want to use or what cardstock I want to use for my pocket. I have this paper stack, and I thought about this page that has a travel theme, but it really doesn't necessarily go with the Easter. It's a nice traveling page, but I think I'll just save that for some ephemera. That flower page is really cute, but it was just a little dark for the Easter color. So then I thought about using the cameras, but again, it doesn't really blend well. I have a lot of patterns, so ultimately I think I decided that I want to go with the solid sheet. So I'm pulling out this paper stack, and I saw initially this pinkish color, which I thought, okay, I'll do my pocket in pink. And I saw that, but then I thought about my cover of my book. Since Palm Sunday just passed as a part of Easter, I know this book has some beautiful florals and palm leaves in there. So I pulled out this paper stack, and I saw this pink, which is a little bit more vibrant and to me more spring and Easter. So I'm going to replace that to be the pocket cardstock. This is a very pretty page, but just deciding which one of these palm leaves I want to be my cover, and I ultimately go with this green and gold and white piece because again, those leaves they speak Palm Sunday and Easter time to me. So that's what I'm going to use. So I'm just getting out my scoreboard, and I'm looking at my dimensions again now. Right now I am working on my cover, and I was just about to score this to the size of my pocket, and then I thought about, like, wait a minute, no. Right before I was about to cut it, I was like, no, this is going to be the cover, not the pocket. So I almost made a boo-boo here. I've never done this before, so I am totally winging this. So yeah, to do my cover, I'm going to, just trying to decide which one I want to be the front. I like that big starburst gold leaf there, and I want that to be definitely very prominent in my cover. So I'm just cutting down my sheet again at the 9 3/4 height. because that's going to be my cover. And yep, it's the exact size for my traveler's notebook. Now, again, my traveler's notebook is going to be around about 4¼ inches wide to that 9¼ inches tall. So I'm just kind of thinking about, do I want it that size? Do I want to trim it down a little bit? And just kind of thinking about how I want to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and score this right in the center. And I remembered that, oh yeah, my paper trimmer also has a scoring tool. So I think I want to use that instead of using my scoreboard. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm grabbing my paper trimmer. First of all, I'm going to just trim this down to the proper size. So if I'm doing 4¼ then I need to do my sheet 8½. So that's what I'm doing now, cutting my 8½. And I think I left a little bit extra just because I'm not going to do only one insert in this traveler's notebook. So I don't need to have a big heavy spine. Again, this is going to be used exclusively for Easter. So I've gone ahead and trimmed the size to be the correct size of my book. And now I'm going to just score it right in the center, which should be around the 4¼ size. So I'm going to just fold that over, and I'm going to varnish it down to make it nice and smooth, since this will be the cover of my book. Now, normally with a traveler's notebook, I would laminate this or Mod Podge it, but I'm not going to do that in this video. And actually, my traveler's notebook is going to be just a little bit different. I will later go back and round the corners, but I'm just kind of working with that paper and just getting that cardstock flexible so it can handle my traveler's notebook. So now I'm going to start working on the pocket a little bit. So I kind of want to do a pocket that's curved. So that's what I'm thinking about. And again, I was like, wait a minute, this is my cover. Don't cut this. So I grabbed my pink sheet of paper and I'm going to cut that down to about, I'm going to go about 4½, just so that I have enough room to insert my actual book into the planner. And I'm glad I took a little bit of access even beyond that 4¼ 4½, because I didn't even consider at this point that I'm going to have to punch the mushroom discs, but I'm measuring my book just to make sure my book will go inside. And again, thankfully, I decided, let me just go a little bit further. So I'm going to go about 5 inches. And I'm so glad I did that, because again, I really hadn't thought about the fact that, you know, and I think I ultimately go with about 4¾ but I lucked out actually, because I at this point I wasn't thinking about the fact that I'm going to have to punch the mushroom disc, which could take away, you know, a ½ inch of my page. So here it was kind of worked in my favor that I measured a little bit more than I needed. So I'm going to go ahead and score that pocket, and now I'm going to varnish that down. And initially I thought I'm just going to flat glue this after I cut out my, you know, the shape of the folder. So I'm just trimming down the excess of that folder that I'm not going to use. I'm going to keep all those scrap pieces of paper to the side. And again, I want this kind of oval type of pocket. I was trying to think about what type of pocket I want, and does it matter to me, you know, that it may be just my book might be a little bit plump, and do I need to factor that? So you'll see me here in a moment. I'm going to cut out just go ahead and cut the shape out, and I'm just freehanding this because I know I want it to be kind of that curved shape. So I'm just going to go with my scissors and cut just that front page, and then I'm going to just cut out the access part of that page to create my folder. Okay. And that worked really good. And so first, now here, I'm going to fuss around with my glue here in a bit. Just trying to glue this down because I had several glue bottles and they weren't really cooperating with me. But I'm going to ultimately glue that down. Okay, so now that I have started to glue just the bottom edge and the corner edge to seal my pocket, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. And then I'm going to put it inside of a book just to kind of let that set. This is not the best quality glue at all, so I'm later going to reinforce that a little bit better, but I did let that sit for a while, and I this is where I remember like, oh man, I need to cut my mushroom punches. And so I kind of started to panic like, oh, is it going to fit? Is it going to fit? Because I forgot to factor in that extra half an inch or so for the disc. But again, because thankfully I was generous with my measuring, it's going to fit just fine. But I was worried about, okay, it fits perfectly, but what happens when I add the pages and I bulk it up? Will it fit? So my glue wasn't really sticking anyway. So this is where I decided that I'm going to do a little accordion fold, just to give me a little bit extra space. So I'm just taking one of those scrap pieces of the pink paper, and I'm going to bring back my scoring board here a little bit and just score about a quarter of an inch or so. I trimmed that off first. I'm going to score it in a couple places just to make a little accordion type of fold so that I can stuff it right inside that corner of that pocket just to give it a little bit more room. So I'm just kind of alternating front to back to make that little accordion. And once I've done that, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in this is where I'm going to use my tape runner. I didn't have any of that double-sided tape, so I'm just actually, with the generous amount of tape and glue, I'm gluing and taping that little accordion piece on that little access piece of paper so that I can go ahead and put that on my book. Now, I was having trouble with my glue here, so I kept going back and forth and none of my glue was really cooperating with me. So, yeah, I ultimately, that's why I want to make sure I enforce that with the tape. And again, this is going to kind of be a one weekend just for Easter traveler's notebook. If I were going to be adding several signatures to this and using it all year round, I would definitely make sure that I adhere that a little bit better. But since this is just going to have one signature and it's going to be inside my book after I decorate it for Easter, then I didn't really need to go beyond kind of what I was doing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead next and start to work on my pages. So I've grabbed all of my cardstock back again and kind of thinking about how I want to lay each one of my pages, and I want to kind of have alternating pattern paper and then those alternating watercolor papers. I thought about bringing in some white regular copy paper. So you'll see me bring in a few of those sheets as well, but I ultimately take them out just because the opposite side of my paper that I'm using, and here's where I'm grabbing that copier paper. So the opposite side of the paper that I'm using is white, and again, I don't need a lot of sheets because this is just for Easter. So I'm taking a trip for Easter, and so I just want to have in my traveler's notebook some Easter pages to decorate. But I want it to be inside my happy planner because my happy planner is my journal that I'm using for the year. So I'm just rearranging the pages kind of how I want them to be inside of my book, and not really worried about how wide they are right now. right now I'm just more concerned with getting them order that I want them to be so that I can trim them down. And so just playing with placement. Now, some of my cardstock does have that annoying price tag in the back, and there's just no way to avoid that. I'm going to have that on some of my pages that I'll just have to either white out or cover up. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. For the most part, I tried to put those as much as I could kind of on the end where they would get trimmed out. But I'm not going to worry about that too much. So again, just kind of, I know I wanted the paper with the cross to be my first page of my book since it's for Easter. But I wanted to add the spring elements. And then I also decided that this page with those beautiful florals, I want to be kind of the inside opener of my book as well. And then I decided, well, this vellum that has this kind of picture frame on it would be perfect for the very first page, even before the crosses. And then just trying to figure out where to put the bunny vellum. And this is where I kind of decided that, hey, I'll just flip over this floral paper and use that white side to put that bunny vellum against it. And that worked really good. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some paper clips so that I can clip this all together. Now, I didn't have any of those big binder clips. They would have worked a whole lot better because the paper clips kept moving around and I had to keep shifting things. So definitely recommend investing in a few binder clips because the paper clips really did not really do what they needed to do. And I do have some of those little square sewing clips, but I didn't feel like going way into my sewing bin and grabbing those. So I just used what I had. Okay, so again, I'm measuring out the size that I want my book to be. And again, my insert should be about 4 inches. So I need to cut this at about 8 inches. And that's what I'm trying to. Here you see me. Oh, yep, it's shifting. So I got to remove it and re-paper clip it. So again, note to self, go buy some binder clips. But yep, just measuring what size I need my book to be. And I remembered, oh, I got the scoring blade on there, so I got to switch it out to my regular blade. So I think I ended up going with around 8 inches, give or take. Because again, I wanted my inserts to be 4 inches when I originally measured them. So now I'm just measuring out my book, and I'm going to trim this down, trim those inserts down. And again, I had to move the paper clip out the way. So, yep, I'm going to trim those down to, like I say, I think I'll end up going around 8 inches because when I fold it, it will be around 4 inches. And I'm putting my vellum in place here. Now this vellum is a little bit short, so I just wanted to make sure that I placed that in the middle of that page. Some of the pages, give or take, maybe a little bit taller. And here I've had to make sure that the vellum was on the right side of those bunnies, and I realized that I still had that price sticker on the back of the vellum. So I'm just removing that with my X-Acto knife. So yeah, this actually is a very, very nice way to create a traveler's notebook if you just want to do something for the holiday. So because I'm going on that trip for Easter, I want to have just a little book all about Easter. I want to take pictures. I want to write journals. I want to decorate Easter themes. I want to write scriptures and prayers and devotional that happen during my Easter week. So I just want a place to have that. But because I'm using the weekly Happy Planner spreads, I don't have a lot of space to write for Easter. I have decorated my Happy Planner, and I'll insert a picture at the end of what my weekly looks like for Easter week. But I just want to have more space. Okay, so this is where I kind of messed up. I had this cording, that colorful cording that you saw, but then I also had that little silver piece of cording that came from it was on some candies that I had purchased. So it was metallic silver, so I liked that. So I thought I would use that. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and score all of my whole book down the center. And this is where I kind of messed up, because instead of me doing a traditional traveler's notebook where I just put the cording only on the cover, I actually forgot that, oh yeah, you're supposed to slide these inserts in. So I actually set my traveler's notebook up where the binding is going through all of the pages. So that's a little bit different. So obviously with this, the way that I did it, and I couldn't remember, well, how am I supposed to tie it? Because again, I've only never done this before. I've only watched, videos, and I didn't have my reference point to remember how you're supposed to do it. So for this book, mine is you cannot add in inserts in this because of the way that I bound it. Now, I'm taking my piercer and I got that little foam mailing packaging on the back just to kind of give it another layer that I can go ahead and pierce. So I went ahead from the top to the bottom and put that cording in, and I sped this up a little bit here because I fiddle around with this quite a bit. And I'm gonna have to trim it down some because I had it all over the place, but you'll see me just piercing and trying to think about the location. But yeah, again, I didn't think about the fact that, with the traveler's notebook, you typically put the inserts in the middle. So I actually bound my book and inserts together all at once. And again, for me, that's okay, just because this is not something that I'll be adding stuff to. That's why I made the pocket. This is just for Easter exclusively. Okay, so I added in the binding of that cording. And so now I'm going to tie that, bring that around. So I put it through the top and the bottom hole. Then I'm bringing it around the middle to be my cover, my tie for the book. And again, this is not the way that a traditional traveler's notebook would be, because you would not have those two middle sections. You wouldn't have the cording go out the middle, because then you cannot insert additional pages. So just keep that in mind if you're following this tutorial on something that you want to do. Definitely, it's a great reference point, but just keep in mind, if you are making this and you want to have pages that you enter after you create the initial book, you just need to make sure that you leave that open. So here is the finished product. Next, I'm going to just do a quick flip through of what everything looks like to give you a reference point, but it turned out really, really great. Okay, so here's my final book. So I had this little extra leftover piece of, I saw somebody else do this. So I have just this little spot for a pen. Okay, here's the final book, front and back. I have this pocket for the ephemera, these extra sheets, which I just added as extra ephemera and scraps. And I have these stickers as well, so I can take all of this with me on my trip with this traveler's notebook. So one final look at my traveler's notebook, front and back. Okay. Love this beautiful vellum page over this Christian page for Easter with the cross. Jesus lives, risen. I have this page, this beautiful watercolor effect. Here's this cute bunny rabbit page. And I like that I have white on the opposite side. Here's that watercolor paper in pink. The beautiful Easter eggs. Then here's that beautiful bunny vellum against the white. I know the price tag was on that little cutout, but I can wipe that out or cover it up with a sticker. And here's the middle of the book with this page. And then it just repeats on the opposite side with the bunny. Again, the price on there can easily be undone. The egg, the pink watercolor, more of the bunnies. This beautiful watercolor. There's more of the cross and that vellum. And here is a look at my weekly spread for Easter week, March 25th through 31st. Happy Easter. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and have a happy, wonderful Easter.